Go. We live. We live. Uh-oh, we live. Yeah. Okay, we live. So first off, folks, this is Dre here. One of Deborah's closest partners. First off, let me tell you, there's gonna be some stuttering in here because this is my first time being live with y'all. But we gonna get through this, okay? So without without further ado, um, ladies and gentlemen, all the hustlers, the fiends, and all the middlemen. Y'all middlemen count too. You know what I'm talking about. Um, this is not just another episode of the Black Woman Animator. This is a very special episode. And before we get started, let me address the elephant in the room. I'm not the Black Woman Animator. That's some weird stuff. I get it. I get it. But you'll see why in a minute. Um, Deborah gave me the huge honor of hosting the 100th Black episode of Black Woman Animator. She's been at this for some years. She's been, chronicling basically all of us, all of our history, and in the entertainment space. And she had an idea of what she wanted to do for the 100th episode. So um, she said, "Dre, I'm gonna need your help on doing that." I said, "Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and rock out." And we talked about it, and we chose the perfect guest for the 100th episode. And I would give a an introduction of everything that she's done. But I want this guest to talk about what she's done, because if I give you too many clues, you're gonna get who it is. And but I want, when she pops up on the screen, I want you to see who we got as the 100th guest, and it's so apropos who this person is, and this person should be the 100th guest on on the Black Woman Animator. But I will say this: I got a lot of respect for this person, and I know what she's done so far in the entertainment space will be dwarfed by what she's going to do in the future. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring on our guest. Boom. We got Deborah Anderson as the 100th guest on the Black Woman Animator. So we
And
going
let the people know that this was your idea. It
uh,
wasn't actually my idea.
well, let me say this. Let me say this. Good ideas come from the conversation that happens between the folks, right? So we was chilling at a we was chilling at an event, and she was talking about her show, and she said, "I'm coming up on the 100th episode." She said, "Man, I got to figure out somebody real special." And that's the first person that popped in my head was her. I said, "It should be you. You're the one that birthed this. You're the one that created this thing." She said, "Damn, okay." and I
True
said,
that. True
and
that.
then I said, I said, "So now you got to find somebody to host it. Who's that gonna be?" And she said, "You, damn it." All right, I got you. I got you back. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm definitely always gonna have Deborah's back. I'm gonna have her back like a shirt. God damn it. So, but today we gonna put Deborah Anderson in the back seat, and we gonna bring Detroit Deb into the front seat, because I think a lot of y'all have seen all the interviews she's done, the talks that she's given on her channel, but she usually puts the spotlight on everybody else. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
she's always fighting to bring people that she sees as overlooked, or people that should be getting her flowers. She brings them in the forefront. Well, it's Deb's turn now to get into the forefront. So what we're gonna ask first is, first off, how you doing?
I am great. I am doing well. I am blessed to be employed in this current industry.
Word, word. I
So
understand that.
I am fan freaking tastic.
That's what I'm talking about. So I want to get into as much as we can, but I definitely want to start from the beginning. So we're gonna start with, where'd you grow up? Where you from?
So I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan, East Side, Casual and Mac. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, she repping. I
And
see that she repping.
so I was born in Detroit. I have a twin brother, so I was born with somebody else. He was born, 1 minute before greatness, and grew up with my parents, and I have an oldest sister, Jamita, and an older brother, Michael. And I went to Hanstein Elementary in Detroit, and just grew up going to church.
Same with me. I was going to church when I was a youngster. Tell us about young Deb running around. Acting a fool as a kid. What was that? What was that life like?
I was not acting a fool at all. The person you
No
see
acting a fool. Okay.
today was not the person that I was as a child. Like my people tell me, my brother would go to anybody, um, and I would just be like, I'm cool with my parents. I'm gonna be right here in their arms. I was very quiet. I still got my kindergarten progress reports where they like it was from like September to February. Like she don't talk, but she do her work. and and then by February there was one because I read them recently. There was like the fourth one that my mom sent me. It was like she talked to the the classmates and the teachers. I was like, I won't even talk to the teachers. I just was like a really quiet child, and so
So you might have been
uh
quiet, but one thing I noticed about you since I've
uh
known you, you don't miss nothing though.
yeah, I
You don't
had to
miss
be
a damn thing.
observant.
Yeah. So where'd that come from? The fact that you're because when I we met I would say 2018, right?
Mhm.
I think it was 2018. Ever since I've known Detroit Deb,
Mhm.
she doesn't miss anything. If you in her vicinity, you say something sideways, she gonna catch it. You know what I mean? So where'd that come from? How did you become so aware of your surroundings, and why is that? Why is that so important? Why is that such a part of your character?
So it was a definitely a transformation and an evolution of that. Like being very quiet, I ain't have nothing to do but to pay attention. So, uh, I was always like looking around, seeing what happened. I live with my mom. We lived in Detroit. We moved to New Orleans for the middle of fourth grade to the end of sixth grade. I went to Little Woods Elementary in New Orleans East, and then I moved my father when I was in seventh grade. Went to middle school, and so something that I learned with my father is to always be observant. And I feel like that was like because I grew up, really sheltered or whatever, with my mom. He was trying to like kind of prepare us for the world, and so always be observant. I still have that phrase in my mind: always be observant, which is a gift and a curse, because like sometimes I observe things and I articulate them and people think I'm like losing sleep over it, and I'm just like I'm just noticing this. I'm not I don't, not that I don't care. Just I notice these things, and maybe people think like, oh, are you troubled by it? Like, no, I just see it. and then but and then through my 20s and even my 30s, it was like, learning how to talk, because pretty much through the end of high school, I didn't talk much. Sometimes I'm even surprised by the stories, like people from high school. I interviewed one of my high school classmates on my channel, and that they I try to get an assessment of what my personality was, but in college I kind of took the initiative to be like, all right, let me learn how to string two sentences together. Let me learn how to be a leader. Let me learn all these things. And it's not only with talking, it just was like with even how I dressed and all that stuff. And so you learn how to talk, and then you find out people don't listen. And so you're like, okay, I evolved from my original self. So what is the point? And then one of the people I was gonna have you talk to, Kellen. He's one of my good friends from college. He like in this year or last year, he was like, being intelligent is for you. It's to help you navigate the world, and
Word.
it's not
That's
necessarily
a
to be
bar.
shared. And that was a problem I had, like particularly in my 20s, and when people call you like a know-it-all and stuff like that. I didn't know what I was doing to be called that. But not everybody needs to know the information that's in your head. But if it's good for you to navigate and not get scammed or like not get played or whatever, but you have to kind of select who can you share certain information with, and that doesn't make them a bad person if they don't want to listen to it. It's just not everybody want to hear everything that's in your brain. So like even when I put like with ex-boyfriends, I'll go to a play and I'll observe something and I'm like, all right, let me not ruin this experience, because we'll be at intermission and I won't say anything because I don't want to ruin the experience for them. But at the end of the play, I'll be like, did you notice how?
So it's interesting you say that. You noticed something and you thought about before you even open your mouth, you think about how it's going to affect others.
Yeah.
Um, that kind of I noticed that about you, when we met, that you're very aware of, you want to try to make sure everybody's experience when they're around you is protected,
Yes.
right? where did that idea of wanting to protect your folks, being that protective, where did that come from?
I I don't know, to be
Like, was that
honest.
from the parents? Was that maybe from
I'm
from
sure
one of your
it's
siblings, from one of your, like folks in college? Because you do have that. I've noticed that you
yeah, I'm
definitely
sure
you
it's
try to
been
take care of your
ingrained
folks.
from the people in my life and stuff like that. I just maybe you from talking to them, maybe you can see it more than I can see it, but like I really don't operate how other people operate. Like I um I'm not swayed. Like I don't succumb to peer pressure even since college when people will be like, people will be getting drunk and stuff like that, and I'm just like, well, first of all, y'all not gonna take care of me. I don't trust y'all like that. Y'all play too many games. Y'all play too many pranks. So let me. I'm observing that. So I'm not about to get drunk, and y'all gonna be having me on the lawn in front of the in the dorms just with whipped cream on me or something, and y'all gonna have pictures.
Headline, right? Headline. It's funny you say that. I talked to you people's Khalil, and
Yeah.
Khalil definitely. I say, give me a good story that kind of encompasses
Mhm.
Deborah's personality, how she's down for her folks. And Khalil said he got wasted, right?
Uh huh.
And he said if you would not have been there,
Mhm.
you don't know what would have happened that night. But basically, he said you stayed there the whole night, and you
Mhm.
didn't basically you said to hell with my night and whatever I'm doing. I got to make sure my folks are okay. And you stayed with him the whole night up to the early morning. But this is what was crazy. He said that once he got up in the morning, sobered up, you gave him a firm talking to as well. I said that sounds like them because she'll definitely if she sees you going off the path, she gon'
Uh
she gonna
huh.
put you to the side. So
Yeah.
have you always been like that? Have you always been the caretaker like that of folks?
Well, yeah, growing up with like my when I was with my mom, even though me and my brother are the youngest, and I'm technically the youngest,
Mm-hmm.
but we
Chronologically,
twins. We the se-
I
it was
hear
a C
you.
it was a C-section. I can't help I wasn't pulled out first. So, but yeah, like we would go to like church all the time, and then my mom would like let us stay home, and so I would be cooking food for my twin brother, and then I have an older brother who's special needs, and so I'll be like helping take care of them and stuff like that. And then once I moved with my dad, I had to like learn how to like not be my brother's mom, and
So
so
you was even taking up that call
mhm.
with your brother as well.
I mean, you can't really turn it off. And then now, like when we were adults, and I, ask him questions like, "Stop being my mom." I'm like, "But what? How you be a sister though? Like, aren't these questions that sisters ask? Or no?
Right.
Like, I mean, I just so I am a like very caring person." And the talking to thing, even when people reach out to me or the BlkWmnAnimator like stuff, sometimes they don't come correct, and I'm like, so I'm gonna respond. But if you reach out to somebody else like this, they probably not gonna respond. So you need to work on that. So I try. It's still it's like sometimes it's still uncomfortable inside me to like approach people like that. But I want them to make sure like if they reach out to some other person that is not like me, that they're not going to be shut down because of how they're approaching people. So yeah.
So you definitely have like when people are in your circle, they in your circle. You definitely keep them and you pull them in tight. I
Mhm.
learned that. I learned you definitely got some of that
I
from
don't forget about nobody who ain't forgot about me first.
oh no, that's the whole bar right there too. And once they forget about you and you forget about them, that's about it, huh?
Man, I'm a
Grand opening,
Virgo.
grand
Like,
closing, grand
oh my
opening, grand
god.
closing. I got
I be
you.
trying not to be petty, but I
Well,
it happens sometimes.
there's petty, but then there's protecting your peace, right?
Yes.
And sometimes they can get kind of intertwined. You don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
but I definitely when talking to you, I talked to your pops, Dr. Anderson, hardcore
Mhm.
cat. A lot of respect
Mhm.
for that cat.
Mhm.
He told me about one thing he said to me when we were talking. He told me about a something that you gave him years ago, and he still has it.
Uh huh.
And when he told me the story about it, I was like, kind of got in my feelings a little bit. I was like, damn. I said with that kind of closeness and that kind of relationship, I could see why you're
Yeah.
kind of that serious about the loved ones that you meet and that come into your life. That was like you still and everybody in the chat, you can guess what the thing is. We could talk about it later, but I want y'all to guess. But basically, it's
Yeah.
something that's easy. It's something that's easily lost, right? But I'm not gonna tell you
And
what it
when
is.
we
But it's
circle
something that
back to that, I just was like, okay.
that was heavy. I was like, damn, Dr. Henderson. I was like, wow, yeah, for real. It was neat. I said, and I'm like, damn, I said I could see how Deborah's so aware. That's some awareness right there. I said, you still got that thing? He said, yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
yo, that's heavy. That's heavy. So
Yeah.
we gonna jump from adolescent Deb. You shoot off into the world. Where's the first stop after you leave the nest and you doing your own thing?
So I went to Rochester Institute of Technology in
Okay.
Rochester, New York. I always got to say the whole
Mm-hmm.
thing because, like, when we being from Michigan, there's a Rochester, Michigan, so I used to have to say the whole thing, like Rochester Institute of Technology for Rochester, because don't
Hold on real
nobody know
quick.
what RIT is.
And said a bookmark. Um, Close because a bookmark is small. That's close. It's small, easy to
Keep the
lose.
guesses coming. Keep the
That's
guesses
very
coming.
that's very close. I say that's a good guess. But nope, not quite. Okay.
But yeah, so I went to school out of state because growing up as a twin, luckily because I'm a boy girl twin, you know, you still are like a unit, but not as bad as like people that look alike, like the same gender twins, and
Mm-hmm.
particularly when they look really alike, they kind of are twin. They're known as twin or whatever. We weren't
Right.
really known as twin. We was just Deb and Don or whatever. But by the time I was in high school, I'm like, I want to be an individual. So I am leaving this place. I'm going out of school, out of state. I didn't have that many places to choose from because I wanted to study animation and then I wanted to play basketball. And so, art schools don't be having sports. So I had SCAD, which was D2 at the time, RIT, which was D3, and then St. Clair College in Canada, which I just looked that up this year. I could have like really lived at home. He was like 40 minutes away, even though it was in Canada.
Yeah. I learned that from your pops. I said,
Yeah,
wait, Canada's where? And I looked at the map. I said, oh, I didn't even
yeah.
I didn't even
People,
know it was shaped that way to even. Yeah.
I'm sure one of my older sisters probably went to the club in Canada. Like it's just it don't even count as another country to be honest. It's just right there.
Except
I
except
like
the fact,
some of
except
my
the fact they do a lot of stuff smarter than we do. Let me tell you.
yeah,
Yeah.
like some of my childhood TV shows were Canadian. I didn't realize that till I went to Korea and I'm vibing with the Canadians. Like, oh yeah, polka dot door, like Mr.
Oh,
Dress Up.
that's
I
what's
didn't
up.
know Mr. Dress Up was integral in my life when I was younger because he used to draw or whatever. I did not know that man was Canadian.
So RIT was the first stop, and then where did because again, you're definitely one that you bring people together. You definitely find yourself in leadership positions. And I think that's just a testament just to how you move. You just are gonna land in those things. Where did when did you start working with the Urban League? When
So
did you
that
get
was
into
in New
that?
Orleans. I moved to New Orleans right after college. And then, 2008, horrible time to become an adult. One of our many recessions.
Yo,
And,
it was bad up in there. It was bad.
yeah,
100%.
went to a little country called South Korea for 2 years, and then came back to New Orleans. And that, like, I was tapped into the Urban League before I went to
And we ain't gonna gloss over
Korea.
that. We gonna get to that South
Yeah,
Korea. We gonna get to that.
yeah. I was tapped into the Urban League because, okay, so the reason I got involved with the Urban League was because I became a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated in college. And once I became an adult and then, the recession, I ain't had no job, so I couldn't pay my dues. And so I'm like, oh, y'all done, risen up this fire for like, social action and community service, but I need to find an organization that I can afford. And so
Right.
in New Orleans, Urban League was $50 a year. I was like, I can do that.
Funny how activism is so expensive. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, but we doing a lot of programs in our organization, so that's why it costs money. But like, So I joined the Urban League before I went to Korea. I was tapped in a little bit, and then I moved. And then when I came back, I got tapped in for like a 10-year period. Um, I was uh, I was part of the professional development committee. I was secretary for 3 years, and then I was president.
So in that time, being in the urban league,
Mm-hmm.
did that give you some of the tools that you could use into what you're doing now, which is basically having your own platform, right?
Yeah,
And it going and
mm-hmm.
finding your own people to interview
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot.
Yeah, that actually started in college with being a Zeta. If you met me in high school, you would have never thought that I would join a sorority because of my personality. I wasn't part of groups. I had like one best friend, Alicia Harbor, from middle school to high school. Like when I moved from New Orleans to Michigan, all those people went to elementary school together and they had their cliques. So I would try to like
Hmm.
follow people around. It felt like I was following it. It didn't feel like I was part of the group. And
Right.
so I just was like, I guess I'm solo dolo until I met Alicia. And so if you met me, you would have never thought I would join a sorority. But once it makes sense for my brain, it makes sense. And so I saw Anka Monroe, my pro fight. She was holding it down on campus by herself, and that inspired me. And then she called like with my dad. I'm 2.0, but like with Anka, I'm remix. I call her original, and she calls me remix.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah. So like my chapter Chi Lambda spoiled me because people know our organizations for throwing parties and strolling, but we got awards from programming. We didn't throw the only party we threw was Hail to the Queens, which became a huge party over 3 years. But other than that, we got awards even over the white organization, the white Greeks, for our programming. Well, we would do, talk about AIDS, talk about, like, we had a yearly program where we would talk to the freshmen about how to be successful in college. And so our chapter, and, this is at a PWI. And so this, which is a predominantly white institution. And so our chapters were citywide chapters. Like we couldn't even get like have one school. We had to have three schools to get like 7 people. And so there's this term in the Divine Nine, which are the Black Greeks, like a T-shirt wearer. We didn't have T-shirt wearers. Like you gonna do this work, and so
Word.
my chapter spoiled me even to this day of like how hard we all worked, not nobody not doing something. And so that was the start of it. But then in the Urban League, I was able to cultivate my leadership skills. Like even when I ran for secretary before I ran for president, I was telling somebody recently, I was nervous. I ran unopposed. And I was at the little election and they were about to, because I'm not good with impromptu. I've gotten better, but like they were about to ask me a question that was not on my notes, and I'm just internally like getting nervous, and I'm like, even at the moment, I'm like, why are you nervous? You are running unopposed. Like,
That's good.
so
I think we share in the paralysis from analysis. It's all in your
yeah,
head. Yeah, I do
yeah.
that too. Um, so from being in your sorority, being at
Mhm.
college.
Mhm.
After that, that's when you hit Korea, South Korea.
Yeah. So I tried to find a job doing animation for like a year. I was a digital opportunity trust intern, like where I helped teachers integrate technology to their classroom. But that was like a paid internship. It was not a full time job. And so what's crazy is I went to Korea in 2009 and I was there in August. If you had told me in January 2009 that I would be living in South Korea, I'd have called you a bold-faced liar. That's how quick the decision was.
Yeah, because a
Now,
lot of us, a lot of us don't go live and work in other
I
right
ain't
in
never
other
thought about
countries,
living in an Asian
right?
country ever in my life.
So was it out of necessity, or was an opportunity came up and you said, you know
so
what, let me just go ahead and get us a shot.
So even though, January, I mean, because I didn't even think about it in January. January to August is like a really quick time, so that it looks like I'm like spontaneous. But I still did a lot of research in that time. I'm like, because I'm going to this foreign country, I'm bad with directions. How am I gonna get around all this stuff? So I did a lot of research. But there was an AKA, that's another black sorority.
1 second, and said a keychain. She trying. That's it's small, easily you can lose it easily. So that's a good guess too. But no, keep guessing. And hold on, Stefan wanted to know what was the question. Stefan, the question was so Deborah's father still has an item that she gave him when she was young, and I was shocked that he still has it because it's so easy to lose and it's so delicate, right? And
Uh-huh.
I said, how did you even keep it? How did it not fall apart? But
Yeah.
he kept so good care of it that it's still intact.
Fall
And
apart is a
so
clue,
yeah, yeah, definitely fall apart is definitely a clue. But
but
so
we're
yeah,
gonna
y'all,
circle back to it. So we
yeah,
just
we'll
let y'all
circle back.
guess.
Keep guessing. We got a watch. A watch is small, but that's something that can stay kind of intact over the years. That can definitely stay intact.
Can I give another
Um,
hint?
yeah, go ahead.
I was 2 years old, so so
Which he
it,
brought that up and said
you got to
that
think
he
of,
would.
a little kid what they would give,
Yeah, and
and you
he
just
was
probably still not gonna think of it. But keep guessing, keep guessing.
he was astonished that you remember that. He's like, how the hell you 2 years old? How is you? But the significance of it was
Yeah.
very real. It was touching. It was
Uh
touching.
huh.
Okay, back to the show. Back to the Detroit Dev show. Okay, so we in Korea. What we doing?
Okay, so what had happened was, right, this AKA that I went to college with, she was posting pictures of, like, she was like whitewater rafting and bungee jumping. I'm like, and I ain't really talked to her like that, but I was just like, what are you doing? Like, where are you at? And she said she was in Korea teaching English. I had never heard of teaching English in a foreign country before that, and so like even in college, I in high school I never thought of traveling internationally. And then, Canada's right there, so that's not really international travel. But in college, I just was like, all right, maybe I'll study abroad in England because they speak English. But that was all. And then I couldn't afford it, so I never went. And so, because I was having trouble getting a job, I was like, okay, if I don't get a job by April, May, let me go to Korea. Which, ignorance is bliss, and ignorance helps you do things you would never do if you were informed. So, if I was informed,
That's a bar.
I was supposed to start applying in
That's a
March.
vote for ignorance. That's a vote for ignorance, which and it's a good argument for ignorance. That's
Right.
wild. Sorry,
Because
I had to put that out there.
I saw an interview with a lady in Japan who's a lawyer in Japan, and she was like, if I knew how much work it took to become a lawyer in Japan, I would have never done it. But because she didn't know, she just kept going, and now she's a black woman and she's a lawyer in Japan. So
That's incredible.
if I knew, because I'm analytical and I do things that make sense, if I knew that you should be applying in March to be in Korea in August, I would have never done it. But I
That's
didn't know that. I just started
right.
applying in May, and then I got there. Like, I got to my orientation late, but I got there. I had to get my diploma apostilled. I got it apostilled. I still can't tell you what that means. Like, I don't know.
Wait, you got a what?
It's this term where you gotta, like, certify your diploma to make sure it's like you went to school. Because, like, back
Right.
then when you taught English, now you have to have a TEFL certificate or a TESOL certificate. Back then you just had to have a degree in anything and be from America, Canada, England, Australia, South Africa, maybe Ireland. That's all. That's
Man,
probably why
you was good.
you need a certificate now. But you had to get it's a APOSTILLE. You had to get your diploma apostilled. I still don't know what that means, and I got it done. Like, I don't know what that means.
I know about the apostles.
Right.
I don't know about getting apostles. I don't know.
So
Maybe they want the Lord to put His hands on you. I don't know.
I got to my orientation late. I met one of my best friends from in Korea. His name is Dan Lewin. I think that's his last name. We kind of fell out of touch, but like he was that's my first black man I've ever met from England. And the way we became friends, we had them contracts, and we both was reading them contracts to the end. And we were one of the
Getting
few
close.
people who read them contracts, and so that's how
Right.
we became friends. Because we were everybody else just signed, and we were still in the room, and so that's the start of our friendship. We were meticulous.
A litigious friendship. You know. so so I know art has always been a part of your life. You've always been an artist. And by the way, y'all, they trying like hell. So
What they say?
listen, she I'm gonna give you another clue. She was 2. I'm gonna give you another clue. She didn't make it She
Yeah.
just found it and gave it to him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it came with an actual message from her too. So he found it and handed it to him. They trying over here.
Yeah.
we got we got we got a drawing.
I mean, that's a good
We got
answer.
we got a yeah,
That's my
definitely.
sister,
Yep, we got
Angie. My
yep,
sister said a drawing.
yep. We got the beaded bracelet is that's cute. I can
I
too
mean,
young
I'm
making the
smart,
beaded
but
bracelet.
I ain't that smart. Like I
I don't
wasn't
know
doing no
the
beaded
message you
bracelets
gave
at
him.
2.
The
Nah,
message you gave
like
him was pretty deep for a
it was
2-year-old.
fire, but at 2,
Yeah, that
I
was
wasn't
deep.
doing no beaded bracelet.
That was deep. I would think the beaded
When
bracelet
I
would
went
be
to the
easy.
Boys and Girls Club at like 10, yes, beaded bracelet. The little lanyard things with when you do the
Right.
spiral
Ooh,
or the
wait a minute.
box.
Wait a minute. Wait. Here we go. Here we go. Wait a minute.
Oh, we getting closer.
Whoa. A feather. Oh,
We
wait,
getting
wait, wait,
closer.
wait, wait, wait. Boom. He got it. Muta di Uto. I hope I said that right. A leaf with some. He got it. Muto got it. Okay. We got to figure out how to send that person something. I don't know what. But we got to figure because that I mean with all the things that are out there to choose, he got it. So
Yeah.
we definitely going Muta. We gonna have to
Where my
contact you
pen
after
at?
the live. We,
Mhm.
let me give you the name. Here you go. Bam.
I got it.
You got it. Yeah, we're
Yeah,
gonna have
I
to.
just
We're gonna
looked
have
for my
to.
post-it.
Yep, we're gonna have to hook them up.
Mhm.
Um, somebody said a fortune cookie. That was not a bad guess too. Flour, not a bad guess. We got some runner-ups. So art's always been a part of your life.
Yeah.
And you a woman after my own heart because we're both modelers. We're both 3D modelers.
Mhm.
Um, when did when did when did you figure out I want to do art as a career? That's what I want to do to make a
Ooh.
living. When did that happen?
If you watch my channel, you know that this is later than my peers. So this is like my I just was a child. I don't know. My dad said he taught me how to draw. I tend to believe him. And then my cousin, I'll call him Harold. I won't call him the family name. But like my cousin Harold, he said he taught me how to draw. I remember being in Detroit and I found in the chifforobe a drawing that my dad did like of a squirrel or chipmunk, and I was like, who did this? Because mind you, he taught me how to draw, but I don't for some reason remember that he can draw. And that goes into the when we circle back to the leaf conversation. There's a reason I don't remember, but so I drew my whole life. I was good at math my whole life. This is why I wasn't like my peers and was like, oh, I watched Aladdin and I saw the animations and I just was like, cool story, bro. Math. I'm gonna be an architect. I'm gonna be an industrial engineer. Because there's this period where I draw shoes from the side. I don't know, and so industrial designer. And then I electrical engineer, and so I would draw from my VHS. I still got my VHS. My mama sent them to me. So I drew the covers of the VHS tapes, and then there's these like Disney books. These aren't the ones because I don't know where those are. I bought these off eBay, but but these are the same set. Like I used to draw off the Disney books that we had, so I was surrounded by Disney. Still,
Wait a minute. Hold on. Jay said, "Girl, was that a VHS tape?" Yes, it
I can
was.
show. If I got a whole bookshelf of VHS tapes, and I got my box TV. But yeah,
Did you say box TV?
yeah, with the
Old,
VHS with the VCR combo, so I could
Yeah,
watch
you
the
got.
VHS
So,
too.
so you got a cathode ray tube in your apartment. That's the original TV. So so
So
it sounds like
like
you.
I went through all that when I moved my dad. He's a college professor, and so he knew about dual enrollment, and so there's a test in Michigan, the MEP or something. I don't know if that was the MEP, but I took it early, and if you passed it, you could get money to go to take community college or college courses, because some of my other peers in high school, they went to like U of M, Dearborn, and all that stuff. But I went to Schoolcraft Community College, and so because I was smart, this is the key. I took that that test early, and then my junior and senior year of high school, I took 7 community college courses. The 7th course was animation. So I took Adobe Illustrator, I
Okay.
took Photoshop, I took Dreamweaver, which is defunct. I took Macromedia, or Macromedia. I guess that was Dream or Director. That don't exist no more. I'm glad I didn't take Quark Express. That don't exist no more either. I took After Effects, and so I took 3ds Max. And I thought, oh, okay, this is like a good meld of my analytical and my creative brain, because I always tried to. I could draw from real life, but I couldn't draw what was in my head. And so 3D is like that bridge where I can like still create. And I think what I learned from not being able to draw, that them 10,000 hours, like I would draw, but I didn't draw as much as anybody who became a storyboard artist or whatever. And so I feel like if I had those foundationals and that anatomy and stuff like that, I probably could have got from what was in my head. But I was so concentrated on other areas that I still struggle with that to this day. But yeah, I was smart, took dual enrollment, took a class, and then I think I don't know if it was my junior or senior year. I was like, okay, this is something I could do, and so I luckily I was still able to apply to a college that had animation, so I
And
majored
so
in it.
I like the fact that you say smart too, because like Geraldine said, right, don't be an educated fool. You can be educated, but you can still be a damn fool, right? So
Yeah, Geraldine and my grandma.
yeah, shout out to grandma. That's real. That's a bar. So
Shout out to Pluncy
me
too, my other grandma.
after yeah, when I heard about Pluncy, I said all these women need like a, I don't know, a story where they a good story with them sitting down having like a meal together and just talking.
Uh-huh.
That could be like a perfect play on a stage or something. Let me tell
Yeah.
you. Yes. And oh, and don't forget Ruby D. Ruby D.
Yeah, my
Yes.
auntie Ruby D.
Yeah. As I was doing my investigation on Detroit Deb, I started learning about a lot of her family. She has a lot of
you was on your Nardwar.
yeah, she has a lot of hardcore, strong, tough women that she was around, and I think that's a testament to who
Yeah.
she is now. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Which which brings me. I wanted to get into that. So you
Mhm.
definitely are a person that you're headstrong. You go for what you want to go for, and nothing really deters you from that, right? And I'm assuming
Mhm.
that all these women you had around
Mhm.
kind of poured into you, right?
Mhm.
Give us some of that, because a lot of times, like growing up, I had my folks that that supported me and whatnot, but we also had a lot of stuff we had to work through in the family. We had to break through a lot of
Yeah.
stuff. But I noticed that uh when talking to like your pops, talking to your sister Jamie,
Mhm.
that they were talking about these women like, yo, they kind of kept everybody in line. You know what I mean? They made sure
Yeah.
everybody was cool.
Yeah.
Give us a little bit of history about Geraldine and Ruby D, and I love the name Pluncy. Pluncy is I love that name, man.
Yeah, it's very unique.
Very,
Pluncy
very.
Ernestine Woods and then Henry. So like I'll start with my mom, like growing up, my mom, she's like very organized, and my mom is like ordained minister, and so I think I get my intelligence from both my parents. I feel like for my parents to be baby boomers, they are very intelligent, and I don't be dealing with the stuff that other people be dealing with, where you gotta teach your parents like everything. I feel like my,
Right.
my parents is smart, so that's where I get it from. They both work from the state of Michigan. Like my mom retired from the state of Michigan after like 24 years in like '94, and she was still in her 40s. So like, but yeah, like my mom's like very organized, and she would like make booklets. She still like make her own cards. She'll do the word processing and stuff like that. She had her own like ministry called this is how I know that y'all be saying the Bible verse wrong. The truth shall make you free. Everybody say the truth shall set you free, but it's actually the truth shall make you free. As I like y'all
I
wrong.
I didn't
That's
know
not
that.
because set
Okay.
and make are two totally different words. But yeah,
I'd have
and
learned
then
I'd have learned something.
yeah,
I've been saying the truth will set you free my whole life.
they done changed it in the Bible to set because everybody was saying it wrong. That's how they do in the dictionary now. Conversate is a word because y'all be saying it's conversate instead of
Conversate
converse.
is a word in the dictionary now.
Yeah, since y'all wasn't saying converse, now it's conversate
Okay.
in the dictionary. But yeah,
Okay. Know that.
so my mom's mom is Pluncy. She would like babysit me and stuff like that, and she like like sometimes like the siblings. Like my mom is one of 14, and so if somebody need like everybody going through Pluncy, so like oh, this person need money. Oh, we did get sent it to Blessy, and then they send it. So like once he passed, that's where the like it was kind of like a breakdown or whatever, because you know the matriarch of the family, and then
Right.
with like my my grandma Geraldine. The crazy thing is like I made a TikTok video about this like last year or something like that, because we have like my mom's side of the family, we have a Facebook group, and then my dad's side of the family we have like a group messenger, and like so they'll be my cousins and my older sister Angie, they'll be like talking about my grandma, and I'm like, I do not know that version of this woman. Like, because me and my brother were so like naive. I think she code switched with us, and so the fervor of Geraldine is like my sister Angie, who was in the chat. Like, she experienced it way more than I did, but I still get those lessons from my dad, and I still love both my grandmas or whatever. But like, she was something, and
Yeah,
she did not
I got
do
some, I got,
that to me and my brother.
I got some news. I got a little bit of, a little bit of insight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Talking to Jamie when she was telling me about how when y'all were really young, and
Mhm.
a lot of times she was the caretaker, and
Mhm.
as I was talking to her, I said, that's a lot, that's a lot to be on the shoulders of a person that's still a child themselves, and she said, well, those are my babies.
Yeah.
The way she said it
Uh huh.
sounded like, I'm like, okay, that's not a sister right there. That's like another mom's or auntie or
That's
something. I'm
why.
like, see, that's that closeness that bleeds in when you get it from the elders, right? It bleeds into everybody.
Yeah, that's why when my
And
sister started having children, I was like, "You could pay me in Oreos because you you didn't have no childhood because you was taking care of us. So like, you could pay me in
word.
Oreos."
Yeah. I like, and she said, and when we were talking, she said, hey, those are my babies. I didn't have a choice. I said, there's a lot of people out here that would choose to go the other way, and she would say, well, that
Mhm.
ain't me. I
Mhm.
was like, yo, the closest I got, the fact that y'all are so close knit is dope, and it
Yeah.
shows. It definitely shows in how, and it
And
also shows
yeah.
in what you do in the art world as well. I
Yeah,
see it
and
because of how
because
you
like
started the channel and everything.
yeah, Jamita, she's like 10 years older than me, so like she was like my second mom, and then we cultivated our relationship in our adulthood, because with somebody that much older, they are like, they're your sibling, but again they're like your
Right.
mom, and so we
Mm-hmm.
cultivated our relationship in our adulthood. And like with my other sister, like, man, like I found out as an adult, I'll be calling my sister Angie all the time. I'll be leaving messages when I was little, cause like I knew my grandma Pluncy. I knew her phone number by heart. I knew my sister Angie number by heart. And so I'll be calling her, and I found out she never got the messages. And so I was trying to like, cause she lived with her mom.
Right. Right. Right.
And
Right.
so I just like, oh man, she don't even know how much I loved her. I do love her. That's not past tense. I still love her. But like,
Right.
I just like, I was trying to like call my sister all the time. She didn't even know.
But but the amount of camaraderie that y'all got and the sense of family, it's gonna bleed through
Mhm.
anyway, right?
Yeah.
Not getting those calls
She
ain't
used
gonna
to always
change
do
that.
my hair when I was younger. Like I had the finger waves with the
Okay.
ponytail.
Okay.
That's my sister. She used to do my hair. I was always fly and had my
So
weave.
so with what you was raised with, right? With
Mhm.
how close y'all were, right? And how it
Mhm.
seemed like people would sometimes have to take the role of caretaker, and then some people were getting taken care of, right? And
Yeah.
it would oscillate.
Mhm.
Um, how much of that went into your decision of starting the Black Woman Animator?
Yeah, there's like a evolution with that too, because people think that Black Woman Animator started as a YouTube channel, and it didn't. It was like Black Woman Animator. The furthest I can go back of when I had created that term, I'm guessing I created in college, but the furthest I can go back in like in an email is like 2008. So Black Woman Animator was created in 2008 or before. I don't really know. I might have used it in college. But when I moved to New Orleans, I was doing, workshops, presentations, classes, because I wanted to get more like black and brown kids and girls interested in animation, because I didn't want them to be like me, where they had to wait till they were 16, 17 years old to realize that they could do it
Word,
as a career. And
word.
so, I wanted to introduce it to them at an earlier stage. Now, what happened with me making it a YouTube channel is that when I'm living in New Orleans and I'm observing,
Absolutely.
I observe the people. If you are from Louisiana, you either never leave or you leave and come back. And so I felt bad that I was preparing all these people to be in animation, and there's no animation industry in New Orleans, and you're not going to move to LA or anywhere else.
Right.
So I was like, let me take it online and make it a YouTube channel so that anybody who is willing to move to LA now, we have more remote work and stuff, but back then it's like you got to move to LA, you got to move to
Yeah,
wherever.
pre-COVID,
Yeah,
we had our hubs, and those hubs were very few.
yeah. So I
Yeah.
I made it a YouTube channel so that I could get it to more people who are willing to do what they need to do to be in the animation industry. And it even when I was still doing it in New Orleans and Louisiana, that I remember I went to the YCA Young Creative Agency or something like that, and I did a presentation, and this young black lady came up to me and was like, "Oh my God, I could tell my mom I'm not gonna be poor." Because everybody has like the starving artist thought, and with
Hey, a lot of
technology
them out
now
there
you
are
can.
starving too.
Yeah, well now, yeah, like
Hell
particularly in this
yeah.
part of the industry. But
Absolutely.
it is more prosperous to be an artist than it used to be.
Absolutely.
And you still have to
100%.
work hard and network and stuff like that. But you're not gonna have the little knapsack, or you're not gonna be selling
On the
like
stick,
like
on the stick.
like when I interviewed Bill Hudson, he was like, I thought you was selling arts out of van, like so. So
So
yeah.
I want to continue this conversation, but I want to give folks in the chat a chance to ask questions because I can definitely,
When we gonna talk
me and
about the
you,
leaf, the leaf,
when we
we
talk,
gotta
yeah,
we gotta we gotta close that up for them.
we'll close with the leaf. We'll let them
Okay.
ask questions. Anybody got any questions? Come on, y'all. Throw some questions in this chat. A lot of people asking about the leaf though.
Pull
What
up
was the
on
leaf?
me.
What was the leaf?
I
Okay,
guess we gonna close. I don't know what his plan is for closing that, but
we'll close with the leaf
it was
at the
deep.
end.
I
We'll
was a
close.
I
Yeah,
was a
we
deep
gon'
2-year-old.
yeah we gonna save that till the very end. That's gonna be the sign off. You know what I mean? So until we get some questions in the chat, because I'm waiting, but we don't have no questions yet in the chat. It's mostly about just what you gave your pops.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody's guessing. Um, so starting the Black Woman Animator. Um, why is it? Because we've talked about your channel a lot, where you want it to go and whatnot. And
Yeah.
I always call you one of our cultural curators, right? Because you're not just talking about when you talk to the guests that you bring on your show, you're not just
Yeah.
talking about their career. You're
Yeah.
talking about them as a
Yeah.
human being.
That's very important to me.
So what 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 um what got you to go in that lane to keep to humanize them so much in the interviews? Because that's why I was like, I know your catalog is going to be worth a serious amount later on because of that. What caused you to go in that direction?
So the humanizing part was definitely an evolution. The catalyst to me doing interviews was I was living in New Orleans and I had this. It wasn't a Dell. It was like a Toshiba laptop, or was it my Dell? It was trash, and
It was
I would,
Adele. It was.
and so I would be editing because I used to talk to the camera, and so I wanted to create more dynamic videos, but the way I would have to edit, I would have to open Adobe After Effects. I would have to import my videos, and then you could put like a little black layer on top. I would have to put a layer of blackness on top just so the video wouldn't play, so I could edit to the sound.
What okay, that's way
Cause
out.
my
Right.
computer was like really slow, so I was
Okay.
like, all right, what kind of content can I create that is easier to edit? And I'm like, oh, interviews. So that's like me not being able to afford a new laptop is how I started doing interviews.
Hey man, necessity is the mother of all invention, right?
So
Shout out to Dell and they trash ass laptops.
so like I wanted to highlight people, but over the time of highlighting people, what became very important to me is like when you watch, because I do a lot of research before I watch people's before I interview people, and a lot of people, and this is how people network in our industry too. They're very transactional, and so they're trying to
Very.
mine the people for gold, and like, okay, how can I break into the industry? How can I do that? Or I find it highly offensive for you to interview somebody and ask them about their relationship with Walt Disney the whole entire time, to ask about their relationship with Chuck Jones the entire time. Like, so you just gonna bring this human being on your platform and talk about somebody else?
Word.
That is crazy to me.
You need to write a book about being a proper investigator when it comes to this kind of stuff, and a proper
I got
proper
plans.
interviewer.
I got video plans. You know
I
what
know
I'm
you
saying?
do. I know it's tucked. Hold on. We got our first question. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. What has been the most memorable moment for you in this journey so far? Damn good question.
Oh,
Good looking out, Jay.
let's see. And what part? Like in my. Oh, can I ask a follow? In my YouTube journey or my life? Like.
I think she said, let's see, because she said in this journey. So I would
Okay.
say
Okay. With
your
this,
life.
I'll say with the. Oh, and then my life.
I would say everything, because I think all of it culminates to you coming here, right? Being at this moment of having this massive platform, and doing all of these interviews, right? And now you become kind of like
Mm-hmm.
the mayor of of animation for us. You know what I mean? And I
Man.
can attest to that, y'all, because I've needed to talk to somebody. She made it happen like that. So I can
Yeah.
attest to that.
And you forgot you said
I,
that.
I I was just saying it in passing, and I figured it was going to be an uphill battle. Well, Detroit Dev
Observe
made sure.
it.
Yeah,
Observe
yes,
it.
yes. Detroit Dev made sure it was not an
I
uphill
was
battle
like,
the next
clock
day.
that. I'ma do
Yep,
that.
and clocked it, and then brought it back the next day. Less than 24 hours. Damn it! Let me tell you. You think FedEx is fast? You think Amazon is fast? Detroit Dev, damn it. So yeah. What was your most
So
memorable moment in this
it's hard
journey?
to say in my life. I'll say in this BlkWmnAnimator journey, um, a big thing is like the comfort, how to come from somebody who didn't talk. To come from somebody whose progress reports say she don't even talk to teachers, and to have a platform where I'm talking to you all or to other people, and for them to say that I made them comfortable throughout the interview. Like, the reason that sometimes in my interviews people say so much is, one, because I shut up.
There you go. Okay.
Because what I learned from all the interviews, but like I remember with Dan Haskett, like, if I shut up, people will tell me things that I would have never asked. And so when people, and then like Siobhan Cherry, she's a storyboard artist. She was like, I was the first interview she had, and then she was like, oh, I was like in a magazine, and you made me more comfortable. You made me more comfortable to get out there. And this is like a woman who's like older, and so she was like, oh, I want to send you the magazine. What's your address? This woman sent me that magazine. She on the cover. Like, what?
Stunting. I'm sure she didn't mean to stunt, but damn.
Oh, like Key Magazine. I think that's an animation magazine.
I slid it in there. Like, what's happening?
And so, like, people, some people get too comfortable and they be like, can you take that part out? And I was like, yes, I can. I'll edit that
Right,
part out.
right.
But I wanted to. The really important thing is, when people hear about my interviews, like, oh, you should interview Floyd Norman, which I have. You should interview Bruce W. Smith, which I just did. You should interview Peter Ramsey, which I'm working on. But it's like, all these people are important. Like, those people are important because, and you know who they are. But as much as I get excited to interview those people, I get excited to bring you all the people you have never heard of. Because
I can
if
attest to that
not for
because
my
you got at me
YouTube
about that.
channel, because as we progress through the decades, like, things are going downhill, journalism going downhill, all this stuff. So journalists, they will take one article and recycle the article over and over again. So you only hearing about the same 5 people in animation, and if not for my YouTube channel, some of these people you would never know about because nobody's trying to
Word.
highlight them.
So would you say the most memorable moment is the fact that you've become connected to all these folks?
Mm-hmm.
The
and and
connected?
and that they appreciate that I'm trying to highlight them. And through interviewing these people, you realize the journey of respect in the animation industry. Like, sometimes I reach out to people, they're like, I'm not an animator, right? Because they're old enough where animators were the only important people in the industry
Mm-hmm.
when in the 2D days. I'm like,
Right.
yes, I know you're not an animator. I don't still work for Disney, right? But you did. So, like, that's why I want to interview you. And so there's people who are not even confident in who they are. Like us, as you know, the world we grew up in, where now we have social media and we could be like, oh man, this person worked on this, and we like laud them. They don't think of themselves like that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I talking to Bill Frake, he does not, he really doesn't understand where he sits.
Mhm.
I said the execs probably forgot about you,
Mhm.
but the artists didn't.
Mhm.
We don't forget about y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're our greats. Let's go to the next question. I'm gonna go in order, y'all. Um, would you suggest that students consider studying abroad or working overseas like you did? That's a damn good question.
I always, particularly for Americans, I always suggest that you try if you can live in a foreign country, not just visit, because and you know, there's no, because we are Americans, there's no guarantee that you will learn anything. But don't go over there as an American. That's how you learn stuff. You go over there and try to respect them people country, try to learn their language, because what I learned is that there are multiple ways to exist and it be correct. Like what I learned from living in Korea was, you know, when they slurp their soup to show, first to cool it off and to show that, you know, the food is good, I'm like, oh, manners are made up. Manners are a Western invention. Like they're like, they don't have that version of their version of manners is totally different. Not totally different. Is some overlap, but also if you go into it with the right thing, not trying to be a colonist. I don't like how we try to be like, even with, you know, African Americans and Black Americans like moving back to the continent. Like, stop! Don't do it as a colonizer. Like,
Word. That's
do
one
it
hundred
in
percent.
respect of the people who are always already there. And that's actually how I lived in New Orleans, and that's how I try to live in LA. Where when I was part of the Urban League, besides the first president, I had the most people from New Orleans. Like when you, before I became president, and we would have our monthly meetings. We would go around the room and see where people were from. People were from everywhere else but New Orleans. When I became president, I concentrated, even though I'm from Detroit, I concentrated on highlighting the New Orleans people. The room started to fill up more. Like, oh, I'm from the West Bank. I'm from the Seventh Ward. I'm from this, because you can see that I'm trying to highlight y'all, and so you have to respect the people that are already there. That's what I'm trying to do in LA. Like, I'm not trying to have the Hollywood experience. I'm trying to have the Los Angeles experience. I go to the black areas and hang out there because I want to meet the people who are from here. I'm not going
Talk that talk, because a lot of black folks that go to LA don't go to. I'm like, why don't you go to Compton, Inglewood, like go to those
to
places and talk to the black
Lamert
folks. You know what I'm
Park,
saying? Man, listen, all
because
day.
like you'll I learned this in New Orleans, and so I carried it over here to with Los Angeles. You'll complain about people and none of them are from here. You're complaining about New Orleans, you're complaining about Los Angeles, and you're attributing it to them being from here. They're not. None of these people are from here, and some of them will lie. Particularly in LA, some of these people will be here 4 years and be like, "Oh, I'm from LA." No, you're not. I'm from a place worth being from, so I'll always be from Detroit. Like, and that's what I love about you always saying that you're from Marysville. Don't nobody know your city until you say it over and over again. Now I know what Marysville, California. I don't know where it's at, but I know that it exists because you keep
Yeah,
saying that you're from Marysville, California.
absolutely. Marysville hillbilly, 100%. And if you want to know what Marysville's about, talk to me, and you'll know
Hmm.
it's solid. You know, because solid folks come from there too.
So
Um,
you think just because you're surrounded by people that those are the people who represent the place that you're at? No, you have to go
actually,
to the people.
actually, at my new job, somebody asked me where I was from, and I said Marysville. They said, where that's at? They said, what is that? What city is it closest to? And I said, it's close to Sacramento. And they said, oh, you're from Sac. I said, no, I'm from Marysville. I didn't have to say that. I don't
Right.
do that's weird shit, homie. I'm gonna tell you where I'm from. Blue Street, East Side, Marysville, California. That's it.
That's
So
what I don't like about when you introduce yourself to somebody. I'm Deborah. Oh, okay. So, Debbie. I said Deborah.
yeah,
I'm
I
Deborah.
didn't. Yeah,
like, like
okay. um, let's go to the
getting
next
too
question.
familiar.
Let's go. What was the favorite project you worked on?
um, One of my favorite projects that I worked on, my first job was in Korea. I accidentally got a job at an animation company. Uh, And I did a Batmobile for the episode of Family Guy. That was an integral project in my life because, I'm sitting there working at this animation studio. I graduated in 2008, so it's like, dang, did I waste like 4 years getting an animation degree? But then I got 2 years later, I'm in an animation studio in a foreign country of all things. And I was like, I did not waste 4 years of my life. And if you ask so many people in America, if they were to go back to college and study something, they all, like 99% of people would study something different. I would still study the same thing. And so I was, went to my supervisor. She was like, do you want to do a snake or a Batmobile? And I'm like, I'll challenge myself. Batmobile. And
The
so
Batmobile is challenging. Let's be clear.
yeah, I didn't know where to start because it was the 1989 Michael Keaton Batmobile. I looked up all these reference images to try to do it, and because I only got a 3/4 view, that's all they gave me. So I had to do all the research to find like the side and the top and the front and all that type of stuff. And sometimes with those complex models, you don't know where to start. But it was like I persisted and I finished it, and then I still had to do the snake after that.
Still had to get stuck with that motherfucker.
Yeah.
And the Batmobile looks good too, by the way.
Yeah.
I would say approved.
It's a conversation starter.
No doubt. No doubt. How do you handle those moments when you reach out to potential guests and they don't respond or decline? They just leave you on read. Damn.
So like, I feel like the animation industry has.
Of course, Mo came with the heat. Mo gonna
Yeah. She know. So like sometimes, I know in the animation industry there's different personalities, so not everybody wants to be highlighted. I do really appreciate the people who reply and say no. Like I really appreciate that you took the time to actually respond to me.
Word.
And so, some people I get ignored by. Sometimes I will circle back, and then it's like not every person who's ignored me is because they ignored me. Like sometimes it goes to spam. So that's why I switched from, sometimes I used to do Deborah at BlkWmnAnimator.com, but now I do BlkWmnAnimator until that one starts going to spam, then maybe I'll create another one. But there's been some people who, like, others who I've interviewed have advocated for them to come, and they respond in a certain way. So some of the people will never be on my channel. But
that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because I think it speaks to your character of like you don't think I'm important enough to come. That's why I appreciate, like, as long as it took me to get Bruce W. Smith, I could tell he wanted to be on my channel. Like I can tell when you are doing something begrudgingly, and I can tell when you want to be on my channel.
I remember when you reached out to me, the first thing I thought was, man, somebody's like chronicling us.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. I was immediately excited about that. I didn't even think about what it could do for my career. I didn't even I thought, oh damn, somebody's out here fighting the fight. Let's go. I want to be a part of that. You know what I mean? So
there's like the longest, well, some people who have graced my channel, it's taken me a year, 2 years, 3 years to get them. That's what people don't know. And I'm persistent. Once I know how you respond, that you're willingly, I can tell you want to be on my channel and you're just busy, I'll circle back and I'll keep circling back. So
we got another question just came in. Animation is super competitive. What are some animation adjacent or non-art roles that people can shoot for at those same companies? That's a damn good question. Y'all they come with heat right now with the good questions, man.
So
I want to know that. I want that answer.
You already know the answer. You just don't know you already know the answer.
No.
But,
I want the Detroit Deb answer. Yeah.
What's crazy? I have been alive this long, and particularly in my adult life, and you just started calling me that this year. How did it take that long for somebody to think of Detroit Deb? Like, that's crazy.
And I think
alliteration.
I think where it came. I think what happened was when we were having a conversation. It was, I know B was there. Mm-hmm. Everybody don't know who B is. That's Brian Vincent Rose. He was there, and y'all was real Detroit at that moment. And y'all was Detroiting with the Detroit stuff. And what helped me connect it was the fact that what you doing with BlkWmnAnimator, what you doing with like keeping us all connected,
Mhm.
Even with some people that don't realize the importance you keeping us connected. I'm like, damn,
Mhm.
she's kind of like the mayor of this shit. You know what I mean? I'm like
Mhm.
Detroit Deb. It just came to my it just came to my
Also
head
to
for me.
get this money. Yeah, if y'all was here in the beginning, I had my theme music.
Yeah, she was bumping definitely. So yeah,
Okay,
that's a
so to
damn
answer the
good
question,
question. Yeah,
um,
non-adjacent jobs in the animation company. What could
so
you do?
as Andre knows, and as some of the people know, I'm a professional 3D modeler. But since moving to LA, I have never worked. I ain't never worked as a modeler. So I fell into production. So production, you could be like a PA, which is like, you know, you gonna be making peanuts. Just to let you know.
I've done that job. I've done
Production
that job. Yep,
coordinator.
I've
That's
done
what
that
I
job too.
currently am. I'm a post production coordinator. I fell into assistant editing. I love that I fell into that. I never thought to be that, and I, through my network, um, a friend of a friend got me a job as an assistant editor, and I like that. So that was I mean, I already had industry experience, but I was able to do that. You just kind of assist the editors for going back and forth between storyboard and the editors to do animatics and stuff like that, and then you do work in post with the going back and forth from the VFX artists and stuff like that. Um, I think, what are some other jobs? I feel like production is like one of those where you can get in and then network with people. Don't be transactional, but network with people,
Definitely
and
not.
then you can, that's because that's your journey. Like you can get in the space. People kind of want to get in the space as what they want to be. Get in the space, where you get in, where you fit in. You started facilities. You get in where you fit in, and then network with people,
Absolutely.
and you can go anywhere from that.
Yep. 100%. I think, and also when I got into my first job, facilities, um, it wasn't like it was. How can I say it? It wasn't this grand plan. I
Yeah.
appreciated every position I got,
Mhm.
and they noticed that. It's like I'm gonna learn a lot from Drew in facilities and Laura. When I
Mhm.
became a PA, I'm gonna learn a lot from Tracy and Tracy Arnold and Carol
Mhm.
Norton, and I appreciated that every step. I appreciated every one of those jobs.
I think that's an important part. I feel like some people have an arrogance where they don't think they can learn from these other positions. You could,
Word.
for me, in my observations, I can learn from anything. I can watch a Neil deGrasse Tyson video and be like, "Oh, this is what I should do for BlkWmnAnimator," and it ain't gonna even make sense that I got there from what he just said, but it makes sense to me because I can
100%.
see, that I can learn from a 5 year old. I can learn from a 5 year old.
Absolutely.
But there's
Absolutely.
this arrogance that's the issue with. I feel like my channel would actually be bigger if I could put Disney. I could put Nick. I've known this since I started it. I know that my channel is not as big as it is because I don't have those monikers behind my name. I still, and even if I did have it, if I had Pixar, I always knew what I was talking about. So you
I
just
will
now
say,
you
I
now
will
you
say,
know because you just attracted to the name.
I will say this though. I think you're just ahead of a lot of people. I think a lot of people don't understand the significance of what you're doing yet. Once they understand the
And some
significance of
people
it,
do, and no, and sometimes them the people I need to know.
no, I think really, I think even people that are like, people that say, "Damn, Deborah, what you're doing is big," but they
Yeah.
they still don't really get it. You know what I mean?
But some of the
They
people that can open doors for me are the people that understand it, and I'm like, thank you.
hundred
Y'all,
percent.
y'all will come, y'all come on. But the people who can get me a job understand. I
Yeah,
got like the last job I got. That man said, "Oh, you have a YouTube channel, so I know you could be in production."
real talk.
So if it's
I
gonna give me some ching ching,
I knew I knew from when we first met, we was just talking. And I saw what you were doing. I said, okay, the significance of this is you're interviewing people in the art space, but the significance of it is about our damn history. It's like history book shit. This is serious. That's why I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to be a part of this, and whatever you want to do, I'm with you anytime you call. So I think a
yeah,
lot of people don't look at it in that space. Once they
yeah,
do, it'll be a different conversation. You won't need the Pixar name of the Disney. It'll
yeah,
be a
yeah.
whole different conversation. And we just gotta wait from they're gonna be tardy. They'll be tardy to the party, but when they
T-
get there,
don't
we
be
still
tardy for the party.
we still charging your ass at the door though, cause you tardy. We still charging you. Only the early birds got in free. You know what I'm saying? We got Quentin came in here and said, "What up, Deborah Dre? What's up,
Gwen.
man? How you? I saw him over at Lightbox. Good brother right there. And
I
Lewis
won't
wants a
call him
what
my
up.
nickname for him.
Look,
What up, though?
and Lewis wants a what up though. Oh, I think we got another question. Hold on. This will be the last question. We're 9 minutes over, so um, I could stay on longer, but I know
I,
we gotta
no,
go.
we could be here as long as we want. It's my channel.
That is a good point. Given the amount of job loss that we've seen recently in film and games, how do you stay encouraged? Woo, we okay. Now we getting spiritual. We getting spiritual now. Let's go on in. I wish I had an organ right now. We can bring out the collection plate, and it's about to. How do we stay encouraged? Because yeah, a lot of changes are happening. A lot of shifting right now with the companies and how companies, make projects and how they put out projects and how we receive projects. What do we do with this?
uh, I'll start honest. Sometimes you don't,
Boom. There,
because
there you go.
like
We gonna start there. We start there. Woo. Okay.
I got more to say of encouragement, but you know, since I've been in LA, I was underemployed and unemployed for 2 years. I broke it. It took me 2 years to re-break into the industry, and so it's very the one of the times since breaking into the industry, one of the times that I was unemployed, I was applying to jobs and not getting anywhere with it, and I just was like, I'm just gonna stop applying.
Ooh.
And luckily my network came through, and that's how I got one of my job. But sometimes you don't, and that's fine. You can't stay there though. And so with this last time that I was unemployed, when I got laid off in May, I very purposefully got out the house, because I was like, I don't want to stay holed up in my apartment and get so discouraged and whatnot. I feel like possibly I still felt depression or something like that. I don't know if it manifested in the way it manifests with everybody else, but um I went to Lamert Park because I try to go to the black spaces. I went to this thing called the Healing Circle. It's a bunch of black and men and women who just
I
talk
wish I
every
could. I
Monday.
wish I could have been
Mm-hmm.
at been at that, man.
Yeah, that
I'm
was
in the
my
States,
that was the
so
one I did. Because I don't believe in creating a Baptist church on every corner. Like, I don't think we should reinvent the wheel. So I was like, oh, I should bring this to the animation industry because of
word.
the tumultuous time that we're having. And so I linked up. That's an important thing. Collaboration. People keep creating new. Why don't you go to this person who's already doing something and bring highlight their thing? Because he's been doing this for 5 years. Why I'm gonna be arrogant enough to be like, oh, let me go do a healing circle over here and not mention that man?
Word.
And that's my inspiration. So I was going there every Monday, because I'm like, I can spend the gas, and it's free. I can spend the gas to be with people and having discussion, and you just talking to people. And then I thought to have the one that I had for the animation industry, but I think it's very important to do your like internal work and have a good head on your shoulders, because sometimes you have to. I think what I see with a lot of people who are discouraged, first you got to have some sense to yourself, because yes, you're trying to break into the industry, but if you see all these veterans are unemployed, it's not you. It's the industry right now.
I didn't said it to a number of people. Yeah.
Yeah, like, don't think it's you when you see people above you, not above like that, but like, if those people have already been in the industry and they're unemployed, it's not you. So stop thinking it's you. And then I think you have to, for life in general. I haven't been like a God, why me type person. The way I operate is, what is this preparing me for? So in my very tumultuous times, like, oh, when life was beating me,
Life was lifing.
when I was president of the Urban League, that was a great experience. That was the most thankless thing I've ever done in my life. And I was like, I'm not, this org can have it. But anyway, and that's not because of the org, that's because of the people. And their lack of support and the uphill battle. But sometimes you have to, like, I don't say, God, why me? I'm like, what is this preparing me for? If life is lifing, ooh, I'm being prepared for something great. I can't wait for hindsight to be 2020. That's actually how I think.
That's right, because it's gonna be a whole movie, right? It's gonna be a whole
I'm
movie.
like, and then there's
100%.
been times where I'm like, oh, this is why I went through that because it prepared me for that. It prepared me to not be taken advantage of. It prepared me to be able to deal with because what is the if you are faithful over a few, I will be make you a ruler over many.
Mm,
So I recently
bars.
read a book that's Bible.
Oh yeah, I know.
That's not me.
Bars.
But I read this book called A Mountain in You, and the way I operate in life is like I don't do a lot of stuff to not hear people's mouth, and so that book encouraged me to start doing stuff because if I want BlkWmnAnimator to be bigger, people gonna start talking, whether it's the trolls or whatever. So let me at my current station get used to the people talking at this current spot, so that when I blow up Shuate, I'll be practiced of dealing with that. Some people want to be in the industry. Some people want all these things, but you're not willing to put yourself in the fire to practice these things. Not everything needs to be you getting money for. Not everything needs to be prestigious. Not everything needs to be like on this like big level. You have to put yourself out there. You have to self lead first. Even if you never want to be a leader in the industry, even if you never want to be a leader, you have to self lead. And not a lot of people are willing to put in the work. You want to do all these things and you ain't done nothing. That's what I pissed myself off in 2016. I created a hashtag for myself, hashtag action and execution, because analysis paralysis. I would read, not do a damn thing. Do
Sounds
some
like me.
shit.
Definitely do some shit. I like this. I like the fact that you said put yourself in the fire, because yeah, that's
Yeah.
really that's the only way
You not
a
gonna
sword,
grow
a
being
sword
comfortable.
becomes ready for battle, right? A sword becomes ready for battle when you put it in that fire and
That's
get
when it
and get
becomes
and
sharp.
get the and get those molecules hard enough to then be able to cut a man in half.
Yeah.
That's real.
Y'all want to be
Um,
comfortable while trying to do something big.
yeah, yeah. I
While
always
doing
say, I
something you
always
never done.
yeah, comfortability and growth don't go together. They
Right.
they, they they're kind of like adversaries. Um, are there other industries that you've seen 3D artists grow in? It's pretty good
Um.
question.
So 3D the manufacturing, 3D printing. Um. I worked for the government when I was in Louisiana. So if you do like the SolidWorks and Rhino and AutoCAD and all that type of stuff, my second passion is education. I've done. I'm currently a professor, and I've done activity writing and curriculum writing for freelance. I actually there was this test prep company that reached out to me some years ago on LinkedIn. I think that was during the pandemic or something like that, and I did. There's these keyhole problems that you get on like a SAT or like different tests where you have to look at the front and the side and guess what the 3D like the perspective version is. And
I did that in my drafting class.
yeah, so I created a bunch of those for their tests and stuff like that. So um, motion graphics, advertising, all that type of stuff.
A big one I think is a lot of people don't a lot of people don't talk about is sound.
Something I do want to mention. This interview is about me, so ask me questions about me. That's the whole point of my channel is to not mine people for gold. Is to ask people to highlight people as a full human being. So ask about me.
That is true. Detroit Deb say get in her business. Get in her business. I like that hold on. Tall Kevin 01 said do some shit. That right there. I like when they keep it simple. Any more questions,
That's
y'all?
this is a skill that when I go do my research, there's if I was watching this, there's things that I've said where it's like, oh, y'all didn't elaborate on that. What
Hold on,
about
look.
that?
Look,
I
look. Not her clocking us. What? Hey, like I said, Detroit Deb is very observant.
because
She is very
that's
observant.
what people don't understand about my channel is like my channel can help you network. If you see how I ask people questions, that's how you can ask other people questions.
Instruction manual, straight up, right there for
That's
free.
how I network. That's how people willingly that I know an exec at All Black.
In a little bit, in a sort of way, it was an education for you too, right? You was
Yeah.
practicing,
Yeah.
right?
So I know an exec at All Black I met him because he's a Kappa, so I met him at a Kappa Delta event. It was actually about relationships, but once I saw that he was in the entertainment industry, I'm like, I'm gonna introduce myself to him. I've known him for about 2 years. It wasn't until the last time I met him I was like, oh, I could ask him a question about. I was really like trying to get to know him as a person, and I
100%.
forgot that I could ask him a question. That's how
I
it should
actually,
be.
I actually have a question. Even though I'm the interviewer, I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
I can dive
Yes,
in and ask all
because
these
you
questions.
you that's the point.
That's right. Well, I'm highlighting you, but I have a question that came up that I never asked you before.
Uh huh.
Um, what interview on your channel was most pivotal for your
Mm-hmm.
growth?
Mm-hmm.
Which one hit you the hardest?
Oh, well, a prominent one was when I when I interviewed that man Dan Haskett, and it was an excellent interview. Like, hey, cause I watch Hot Ones with Sean Evans, and he's one of my
Hmm.
inspirations. I want to be between like Sean Evans, and I don't want to go full Nardwar where I'm scaring you with the questions I'm asking, but I went to press stop record, and I never pressed it. I interviewed that man for an hour and a half and didn't press record. Dan Haskett was the perfect man to do that with because he's so gracious. He let me interview him again. So the interview, part one and part two, that's the second time I interviewed that man.
Wow. So was okay. So in what
that
way?
that
In
that
what way
started
that?
a friendship where we always go to lunch. I'm friends with an animation veteran. That was my foray. Like, because Dan was that interview where more like veterans were like, okay, I see what she's doing. When I interviewed Donald Towns, that's how I got Ron Husband because they know each other. Because the big thing is that I'm not doing the okey doke. Like, some of them were like, is she going to? Is this like a Wendy Williams type situation? So, like, at the more people that I got on my channel, um, and I still remember stuff that Dan said, like, when we talk about drawing black characters, um, he was saying that some white Asian people can't do it because they don't see us. They
Word.
don't see us, and that's that observation
Absolutely.
piece. When during the pandemic, after George Floyd, when there was all those conversations on Twitter, and all the all the white artists were like, I don't know, I'm scared to draw black people. Like, you're scared? That is crazy to me. You're scared. All you got to do is see us.
Yeah. And I,
You
you know
trying to
what?
make it up out of your head? Just draw what you see.
I think what you're saying. I think when
Mhm.
they said they're scared,
Mhm.
is that white folks never want. Most white folks never want to be in the position where they have to say we're the fool trying to learn.
Mhm. Mhm.
I think that's really what they're scared of,
That's the
right?
thing when I say that people don't want to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That's it, racism as well. Like, if you're uncomfortable while learning that how you're a racist, they don't want to be uncomfortable. They want
You
you to
just you
come.
might
They
you might
want
be
you to
racist.
comfort them. They
Yep.
want you to comfort them while you tell them why they are racist.
Right. It's like,
So
wait, you supposed to be in the fire, not in the bubble bath. You know what I'm saying?
it's overspread. It doesn't have to only do with race. It has to do with all type of subjects. If you need to be comforted while you're then you're not learning anything. Comfort is not learning.
What motivates you to keep creating even on tough days? Mm, yep,
Well,
I've
this
had those I've had those days you wake up where you just I ain't doing shit. I'm tired. I feel that. I feel that question.
luckily, well, this ain't got nothing to do with my art because I still ain't create my art, but I'm still an artist, man. But with my YouTube channel,
I don't. The YouTube channel is art. I'm gonna beg
no.
the
But
difference.
this is
That's art
this is
to
the
me.
this is the important part of what I'm saying. Like, because that's the struggle. I struggle to do things for me because my channel is for other people. It's easier to do.
Mm.
It's easier to have that accountability.
So could
I
it
don't
be?
it's hard for me to have accountability with myself.
So maybe on those tough days,
Mhm.
instead, like on the tough day, instead of doing something for yourself, maybe be of service to someone
Mhm.
else. Maybe that
Mhm.
could help. That can kind of get the sparks going. Maybe.
Yeah. But it still ain't gonna help me do my stuff because, like, that's in 2020 after I finished being president of the Urban League Young Professionals of New Orleans in December 2019. I actually tried to, like, even though I'm still doing my YouTube channel, I try to center other people less because I knew that I have trouble centering myself. And so that is a work in progress, centering myself to enough to love myself, enough to create my art.
So adding you to that list, you're a caretaker. Now you got to
Yeah.
add you to that list
Yes.
of the
Which
people
is
that you
very
need to take care
hard.
of. I understand. I get that. Hold on.
I'll do a video when I figure it out.
I need that video too. You've had to do a variety of things because of under and unemployment. How do you make time for being an artist or maintain your modeling skills?
Well, when you're underemployed, unemployed, you got plenty of time. But but also I need that structure. I think that's why sometimes when I am unemployed, I do less because I need that structure. What I realized this year is that being in LA has thrown me for a loop because you're always looking for a job. And when I was in New Orleans or previous in my career, I could have that full time job. I could be like, this is when I'm working, and so this in the evening is when I'm going to do my YouTube channel. On the weekend is when I'm going to do this. I'm realizing recently in the past few months that I need to figure out how to live in LA and the version of LA that I'm living in where I'm is constantly like working and not working because that is not my superpower. My superpower is being busy at all times, which could be like a trauma response or something. I don't know. But I need to learn how to work in emptiness and lack of, because literally during the pandemic, I did less. When I'm laid off, sometimes I do less. I have plenty of time, but I'm not doing
That's
anything.
a deep line. Work in emptiness. Now you got me. I'm right now. I'm not the interviewer. That was deep. Expound on that one. Work in emptiness. Expound. That sounds
Be-
like some Buddhist
and
stuff.
that's really for me because I thrive in structure, and LA does not provide structure for me, and so I need to evolve. I can't keep doing what I did previously. You can't. There's a quote. I think I was taking a business class in college, and the book said you can't you can't. People can't have the same life results if they have not had the same life experiences. So
It's real.
if my life is different now, I can't keep relying on the structure. I have to figure out how to do it. Like if I don't have that much to do, I still need to have that discipline to be able to do what I need to do. I haven't
That's
figured that out yet, but I will.
100%. 100%. Here goes the crazy sports analogy. It's like college ball to the NFL. It's still playing ball, but there's definitely adjustment you got to make.
It's
If you don't make
levels
that
to it. It's
adjustment, if you don't
levels.
make that adjustment, you on the bench. You are on the bench.
A
You ain't getting on the
whole
field.
nother level.
A whole nother level, man. Here we got I believe this is a question. My vision. Animation is my life. I feel like we need some music right now. Animation is my life, lifestyle, lifetime, peace, happy, fun, but I have trouble learning. I'm gonna paraphrase. Learning animation in rural areas, side animation. They're dealing with the struggles and the learning in
Yeah,
those spaces.
I think
What do
might
you
be
do?
because they just reached out to me in my inbox on Instagram recently and told me thank you
Word.
for like my channel because they are in a rural area and like I get to inspire them and stuff like that. And these are the people that I do this for the people who can't not be. I'm your friendly neighborhood animation professional. There's people who cannot interact with animation professionals where they're at, and so I'm bringing them to you.
There you go. So just keep tuning in, and you'll keep learning.
And thank you for your nice message. I screenshot it. I screenshot when people reach out to me, and because that helps me know that I'm doing the
I
right
like how they
thing.
started it. Animation is my life. They drawn a line in the sand. You know what I mean? That's the dedication that I like. Give us. We got any more questions before we sign off? Because we're gonna sign off with what Deborah said to her father when
Uh-huh.
she gave him that leaf, which was just so dope. Um, I don't think Deborah, give us a story.
Okay, so I don't remember none of this because I was two. So like I don't remember my parents being together. They were divorced when I was like two, and so my dad said that that my dad said is a very prominent phrase from my childhood. My best friend in high school was like one time like, "What do you say? You keep saying my dad said, my dad said." But anyway, my dad did say that I gave him this leaf, and I guess this is when they were getting divorced, and I was like, please don't leave. And I was like, damn, I'm deep.
Came with the bars though. Came with the bars at 2 years old. You
Like,
know what I'm saying?
dang,
And
I
and
am
with and
deep.
with the spirit of that saying, here's what I'm gonna say.
Mhm.
Right now, we are in a tumultuous time in animation, right?
Mhm.
And it's getting rough. But all of us are artists. This is what we love to do. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I'll say, let's follow Detroit Deb's message. Please don't leave. Stay
Mhm.
here and make sure that we keep this thing going. You know what I'm
Man,
saying?
we need to do the indie. Don't leave the industry, man.
Don't
We
leave. So just
it's hard,
remember
but
what Detroit Deb said to her pops. That don't leave. Okay? So
we
that's what
gonna
we need to
figure it
do. We
out. We
gotta
gonna figure out how we can do this indie thing. We don't need Hollywood.
we do not. Hollywood needs us. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
we can be signing off. Thank you, Detroit Deb. It was definitely fitting having you as the 100th on your own platform. You know what I'm saying? And can't wait to see who the next 100 are gonna be. You feel me? All right,
Yeah.
y'all.
The
We gonna
hundredth
see you.
black.
That's
Emphasis on
right.
black.
The 100th black. That's
I got
right.
more
That's
than
right.
100 interviews.
Um, make sure to keep following Deborah, BlkWmnAnimator everywhere, pretty much. And I'm sure you're gonna be popping up in other venues. You're gonna be at Comic Con. You're gonna be at Lightbox and all this other stuff. So
Mhm.
just make sure you keep following her. And
Thank
remember
y'all
that.
for the questions. Thank y'all for coming. Thank y'all for being here the whole time. I appreciate you, Kevin. Use my ride or die. Oh, I do want to say, I don't have the pins yet, but I have pins to commemorate the 100 black interviews that I've conducted, and my longtime supporters like Kevin and Brittany and stuff will be getting pins exclusive.
That's right. I can't wait for mine. I
All
wanted
the
to
people
sport
I've
mine on. I wanted
interviewed.
to sport mine. Damn it, on the show. But
Yeah,
okay,
the people that
I'm
are
definitely
part of
gonna
the
have mine.
100, they'll be getting the pins, and also my longtime supporters and a couple other select people.
Word.
So
All right,
Kev,
y'all.
you gonna have to give me your address so I
I
can
know you
ship
got
it.
mine. And Luna
Yeah.
said hashtag Detroit Deb. I know it's gonna stick. Goddamn it, Detroit Deb, the mayor of animation. That's right. All right, y'all.
Also, they get this money.
We'll be seeing you. Peace.
Yes, we will. Peace.